that's step number 2. A little bit controversial, but hey. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna be giving you guys 3 steps that I use to make money with Pokemon cards. Not necessarily Pokemon cards. We have some One Piece. We have a little bit of everything. Any TCG, pretty much any cards. This will probably work out for you if you're willing to take the risk that it takes to put and make money on it. For step number 1 is something that is pretty common. A lot of people know about it, but then we have step number 2 and step number 3, which are definitely very risky. Not a lot of people know about it, and then not a lot of people that know about it do it because the risk that it takes. So for step number 1, pretty simple. Opening packs, hoping to get the hits, and then getting them graded for the value to go up. Definitely very risky. I don't do it a whole lot because it takes a lot of packs for you to be able to get that the chase, or even if it's not a chase, one of the top cards. Even when you get it, sometimes you could take the risk of it being off center or have some winding on the back. Getting a PSA 9 on this kind of modern cards pretty much takes your value to a raw value. So sometimes it's not even worth it getting graded, but it's definitely a risky move, but I do it here and there. I'll open packs, booster boxes, depending. If I get a good deal, I usually open it because it lowers my risk. It lowers how much money I'm gonna have invested into the card whenever I go out to sell it. So yeah, I'll usually rip packs whenever I get to buy them for a good deal, that whenever I pull a chase or just a top card that I'm able to grade, then whenever I go to sell it, I don't have that much overhead. I don't have to make a whole lot of money. I don't have to make the price of the booster box or whatever was it that I opened. So yeah, that's one of the steps that I use. I try to get deals on sealed product, then opening it, and then hoping for some hits that I can grade, which is something that I'm working on now for the next upcoming show that I'll be doing next month. In the Nationals, PSA will be grading on site. I don't know if I'll be using that because a lot of these cards are lower end, but yeah, something that I'm working on. I'm trying to build a big inventory to be able to drop off to PSA, Beckett, not CGC. We'll see how we work on that, but so far we're working on PSA and Beckett. For step number 2, this is definitely something very risky, something that a lot of people don't really like. A lot of people don't understand the full concept of it. Is pretty much cracking cards from their graded company. That would be PSA, Beckett, or CGC. Some people see it as scamming. Some people should see it as different type of ways. The ways that I see it, if it's a lightly played card, a near mint card, whichever be the case, if it's on a PSA 9, PSA 10, PSA 6, whatever it is, as long as you sell it raw according to the value that the card is selling for, raw value, that I don't think there should be a problem. Which, why would people get offended when I crack a Beckett 6, which I'm planning on cracking this one. I'll probably crack and sell it as lightly played to moderately played because it doesn't have the full lightly played or the near mint condition. But sometimes you might find PSA 8, PSA 7s, Beckett 8s, Beckett 7s that look very clean. They look almost near mint, which those are I always recommend to be on the lookout for that kind of cards because you can crack it and sell it for more when it's on raw value. Like Beckett 6 probably is gonna sell for around 80 to 90 compared to a play copy of the Machamp. In this case, the Machamp Masaki. The raw value will probably be on a play copy would be around 100 to 110. So yeah, I don't really see a big deal on it. I always, whenever I do sell it, I do tell people that I cracked it from different grades just because some people have different thoughts on it. But like I said, if it's the condition that you're selling it for, it doesn't really matter the history of it because you don't know if someone else cracked any of the cards that you own right now and you're happy with it because someone sold it to you to the condition that it was. For another perfect example is this Sabo manga. This was a PSA 9. But in this case, the PSA 9 sells for the same value as it sells as raw. Raw also sells a lot faster than PSA 9 because people either want a PSA 10 or a raw copy, especially for One Piece that all these cards have extremely good condition. Pretty much it was a PSA 9 due to centering. It's still a near mint copy of this card, just off center. So PSA will give it a PSA 9. I'm sure Beckett will give it 9, 9.5. So yeah, this will be sold as near mint because it's a near mint copy, just it happens to be off center. Like that was step number 2. A lot of people have mixed emotions about it. I've talked about it before. Some people just get offended over everything. For example, I used to do it a lot with the Raikou, the Entei Not necessarily the Suicune, because the Suicune has a different value, and I'm talking about the gold stars. Uh, some of those PSA 8, PSA 7 copies are selling for less than their value as raw. Raw, their value around 350, 320 to 350. Whenever you get a PSA 7 or PSA 8, they're selling for less than that. So why are people not cracking those 8s or 7s if they look good enough to be sold as near mint or lightly played? So yeah, I used to do that. Nowadays, the market has kind of caught up with it, so the lower grades are doing more or less the same as that, or some people already watched videos and they're catching up to it. They're either cracking their 8s, their 9s, whatever, or they're just letting them be. But I used to do that. I talked about it, made shorts about it. A lot of people didn't like it, but I get it. It's a near mint copy. Doesn't matter if it's on a PSA 8. As you see, they usually have it. So on a 6 is gonna say excellent to mint, which definitely not mint, or excellent is gonna be sold as lightly played to moderate play on the Machamp. So yeah, that's step number 2. A little bit controversial, but hey, I think it's a great way to make money. It helps you a lot to bring value. Before we move into step number 3, I should start off a perfect sample. I bought this Espeon from Aquapolis on a PSA 7. I looked it up. I asked for some photos. It looked very clean, very clean. It looks like a very lightly played copy of it, when the lightly played sells for around 230, 240, compared to this PSA 7 that I bought for 170 bucks. So I'm gonna be able to crack it and value it around the lightly played value, which is the 230 to 40. But as a disclaimer, I will always tell someone whenever I sell them a card that I cracked, I'll tell them, hey, I cracked this card out of a PSA 7, a PSA 8, whatever it is the case, just in case they're looking to regrade it and it gets the same grade. Now for step number 3, this one is I don't think a lot of people know about this, but it's definitely something that everybody should be using. So Beckett Company has this thing called GCR, graded card review. Is you pay them a small fee of $35. Everything's fees, everything is money, and they'll review your card. They'll review, especially they'll review their own cards, so cards graded by Beckett, but they will also review cards by PSA, CGC, any other company, and they'll give you an is not a solid grade. Usually when they put behind, it's not a solid grade. It's more of a this should be the grade that it will get whenever we regrade it. But it's something that I do with white shorts or any of the other ones that I would think are gonna go higher on grade. So for example, here we have this 3. We have the Masaki Gengar, we have the Sabrina's Gengar, and then we have the Gengar from Mysterious Mountain in Japanese. These are all 8.5, very close to a 9. So all of these, I will try it in the Nationals to GCR them and hopefully get an upgrade to a 9, because I looked them up. They look very clean. So some of them are a point away, some of them are 0.5 away. So I have high odds of bumping this into a Beckett 9, which will increase my value a lot. So that's another thing that I do. I look for lower grade cards, usually 0.5s. So something that it looks like it can bump to the higher grade. So I was just trying to buy 8, 8.5, and then just GCR them and then try to bump on the grade. Also, that way, there's a lot of people that are able to get black labels when they GCR their Beckett 10s. Beckett 10s are always 0.5 away from a black label. Beckett 10 will never be anything less than 10, 10, 10, and 9.5. Doesn't matter where it is, it will always be like that. So a lot of people, they try to GCR those 10s and then try to get black labels. It's something very hard to do. I've done it. I graded, so far I have graded 3 black labels like that. But like I said, it's extremely hard to do so. Out of those 3, I probably have graded with them about definitely over 100, 200 cards. So it's definitely not something easy to do, but it's another way to increase the value of your cards when you go to sell it. So for perfect sample, we have the Masaki Gengar, and an 8.5 last sold was 880, and Beckett A sells for around 850. So they're pretty close. An 8 to an 8.5 is very close. Usually that's when I value 0.5s. I value it to the lower grade instead of the higher grade, which is usually what everybody agrees on. But this card on a Beckett 9, it would jump to $1,800 to $2,000. So this is something that is definitely worth the risk on trying to regrade. Even if I have to pay an extra $35 for them to review it, it would just increase the value more than double. So this is something that I always stay on the lookout. I always look for cards that I think it will bump to the next grade. Same with the Sabrina's Gengar or the Gengar from Quabolis. Mysterious Mountain is Japanese. But yeah, this is something that Beckett does, something that everybody can do. It doesn't have to be nobody special. It's just a public service that they provide to everybody that goes to the shows. They usually do this on certain shows on site. So usually they'll do it at the Dallas Card Show, they'll do it at Nationals, they'll do it at bigger shows, usually sports shows. I don't think I've ever seen them do it in any TCG shows. Also, they will do it with PSA or CGC cards. So here we have this Nami. This is Nami Altar Leader from One Piece. It's a PSA 10. This one I bought like this already, GCR by Beckett. So it was a PSA 10. Obviously, from a PSA 10 to a Beckett 10, the value increases. So this is how it will look whenever you do it from a different company. They'll tell you, yeah, this one will go into another Beckett 10. So this one basically will go from a PSA 10 to a Beckett 10. But as you see here, they don't show if it's gonna be a black label or a regular 10. So this is something that I took the risk on because it looks very clean from the front. I'm not able to see the back because I have all of this going on. So this is something that I'm gonna take a risk on. If it gets a black label, my value goes up extremely high. So this is something that I took the risk. Even if it gets a regular 10, the value still goes a little bit higher, which I was fine taking that risk. But as you see with PSA, they will not mark the subgrades that they give you, compared to see if they would do this with Beckett, with a Beckett slab, they will mark if any of the subgrades bumped to a little bit higher or a little bit less. So this is how you can tell with Beckett. There'll be a guarantee. So if it says 999 8.5 and then they bump that 8.5 into a 9, it will say here 9. So it will be a 9 from an 8.5 to a 9 just because they bumped that 8.5. With PSA or Beckett or CGC or any other company, they won't tell you what the subgrades are. They will just tell you the final grade. This is something that you guys should definitely take advantage of because, like I said, it's a public service. It's nothing special. It just costs money. And then they also do this similar, but they do it with raw cards. So it's called RCR, Raw Card Review. So this is something that you can hand to them, and they will look it over, and they will give you an estimate of the grade that you would get if they were to grade it. It's not guaranteed. They might give you a 9, and then whenever you grade it, it might go down to an 8 or an 8.5. It's a risk, like pretty much anything. It's a risk. Opening pack is a risk. Cracking is a risk because you might damage the card when you're cracking it. Or GCR is a major risk because I might spend $35 per card and none of them will bump, and then I just lost that money. They're not gonna refund me that money if it doesn't bump. Again, it's a risk, but the upside is there. So it's always risk management. If I lose $35 if it doesn't bump, I gain over $1,000 if it does bump. So I'm definitely willing to take the risk. Sabrina's Gengar is a lot less. Definitely not gonna make 1,000 on it if it goes into a 9. Same with the Mysterious Mountain, but it's something that the reward will outdo the risk. So risk management, always just try to see what you're risking and what you're gaining from any situation. This is a great way to take risk that you're gonna be able to make money on. So yeah, these are 3 steps that I use. I think you should use all 3 steps. Opening packs, very risky. Cracking, very risky. Regrading, extremely risky. So everything is risk, but it also brings big rewards. So this is all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. It's a little bit different, a little bit more of school type video, I guess. So if you enjoyed, please leave a like or comment, and then I'll see you guys in the next video.